There we go. The three of you wake up in your crypto sleep sarcophagi. Oh, I read this part earlier. As the pieces of shredded starship fall around you, you start making plans to survive. Okay, here we come. Ah, there they are. Yahtzee, Joycelina, Omelet, and we have Banquo. Oh, we have a Yorkshire Terrier, age 7. Okay, so I paused the game. Let's take a look at what we have. So I like large mountains because there's a lot of places to dig in and get items that you might want. But the map isn't taken by a big, huge mountain area. So like if we did mountainous, like this whole top part would probably be one big mountain that you then dig into. So let's figure out where we want to start. Here's a patch of rich soil, which is good for growing. And we've got some nice trees. Looks like there's some bushes that will eventually grow berries, I bet. So here's a berry plant. Oh, I'm sorry. These are just bushes, whereas this is a raspberry plant. So that's good. There's some heel root on the map growing up, which will be our medicine for the short term. For animals, it looks like we've got ourselves a grizzly bear. We will want to be very cautious around the grizzly bear. We've got small squirrels that we could hunt, a little bit of squirrel meat. We've got some turkeys and an ostrich, a raccoon, some ibex, which is helpful, more growing area. Let's forbid these packaged meals. We have a geothermal over here with more turkeys. Oh, we've got a mega sloth. Another ostrich, which is great. And what do we have here? Oh, an alpaca. That's fabulous because an alpaca can be one of those that we would want to tame. In fact, I'm going to say tame. I don't know who's going to do it yet, but that's who we're going to tame. And so then when we do caravans, we can actually pack stuff on him. Tortoises. Do not be fooled by tortoises. They will, when you attack them, they will attack back. And they will chew off toes and fingers, and the next thing you know, your walking has been hindered because they've like taken 3 or 4 mini limbs off of you. And then we have boomalope, which you have to be careful because when they die, they explode. Kaboom! So you want to make sure that you don't explode them in or near your colony, in or near like huge clumps of trees, because they will explode. We have some compact machinery, which will give us some components that we'll be able to build with. We've got some compact steel to be able to build with. Like it had said when we started, so we've got mostly slate around here. More compact machineries. This, you'll notice, there's a sandstone wall. And behind here, there may be something still creeping about. So we'll want to be cautious if we open up that area. I'm trying to see if there's even a bigger one. There might be an ancient danger hidden in and amongst there. There might be something over here because that looks like wall to me. So the first thing we want to do is start looking at where we're going to build our base and start it out. I think we will do it up in this area. So there's certain things. Oh, there's some of the ship chunk of what we landed down, and some pieces there. And what do we have here? So this is what we started with. This is what we crash landed with. I'm forbidding stuff so that we can pick it up and haul it. And some, whoops, no, that's not it. Some medicine, some guns, and a knife, and some packaged food. So, going back, who was my shooter? Okay, Joycelina is a shooter. And Omelet is definitely melee. And then Yahtzee is shooting. So Joycelina is going to get the bolt action rifle. Omelet will give you the revolver. Oh no, Omelet gets sorry, you get the plasteel knife, and Yahtzee gets the revolver. That will be very important to get yourself armed right away. So if I'm going to build around here, this is where my garden place is going to be. We'll want to set up a structure up here so that we can have a place over our head, a roof over our head, because they definitely get a negative moodlet if they do not have a place to live. So we'll start there. And I don't know that we're going to have oh, here, I have to undo the wood, unforbid. So we've got 300 logs to be able to do some stuff with, so that should be good. So we'll start with building our house. We'll want to put in a growing area, so that would be zones. A growing zone, so we're going to want a growing zone through here. And make use of the rich soil. And we're going to start with rice. Rice is one of those, if you see some information on it, it has a growing time of 3 days. So it will grow and be harvestable within 3 days. And so we'll be able to have food fairly soon. And so that's really important when you first start. You can see there's a variety of things to grow. And some of it's dependent on the skill level, growing skill level of the person that's growing it. So we won't be able to get heel root until we have somebody who has a growing skill of 8, which I can't remember. I think we have somebody who starts off, yeah, so growing at 13. So Omelet will be able to plant that for us right away, which could be really good for us. Another thing we want to do is get a stockpile ready where they can just bring all our stuff. So let's get a dumping stockpile here, just out of nowhere. And what's going to be in here? Pretty much allow all. I just want everything stuck over there. We'll change that later on, but it's a good way to get us started. So let's unpause and they'll get to moving. Everybody's equipped, everybody's starting to do their stuff. Another thing we're going to want to do is to chop down some wood. You don't want to do too many commands at once because otherwise any of the stuff that you need, and that can be very dangerous. Sorry, my chair, I'm moving. My chair's going to go pop, pop, pop all over the place. So that's where we'll start. Let's see. It's got some harvestable items as well. So we'll get some food, get a few more medicines. That is the first thing I want to do. So medicine of 4, that's not bad. So if needed, Omelet can self-tend. Then we'll go and where is the... Oh, but we do not want them using medicine right now. So if they get hurt, it's probably not going to be too bad. We don't want them to use any medicine on themselves. So they can just basically wrap it up with cloth. Let me see. Yahtzee's medicine is also high. So definitely self-tend and no medicine for now. And the rains have come. So you can see they're already building a roof. I'm going to want to put in a floor. Let me pause here. Because they really don't like it if it's ugly. So this will help make it not so ugly. So we'll build in a floor. And then some furniture. We are going to want some beds right away. So we'll give them 3 different beds. And hopefully by nightfall all of that will be done. Again, looking at Omelet's characteristics, because his construction, he's doing pretty good. He's able to do that a little bit faster. It also affects the quality of the beds that he's making a construction fail. So how often he fails in building something, and then its actual quality. So this one is awful, which means its comfort level is 0.3. Its cover effectiveness, I don't know what that means. Oh, if we were in battle and he was standing behind it, it would cover him 40% and make it harder for him to be hit. Extremely flammable because it's made out of wood. That's the number of hit points it has, its market value, its mass. So if we wanted to take it in a caravan, if we wanted to uninstall it and take it with us, it would take up 50 kilograms of mass in our caravan, work to build it. So he's able to build it pretty quickly, only 11 work. Immunity gain speed factor. So if someone's sick and laying in it, they gain immunity 110% faster, which is really important. You want to get your immunity to move faster than the disease itself. Rest effectiveness is 85%, and surgery success chance factor is 64. So, but it's awful. And so people will not get as much rest when they sleep in it. So he's working, doing the construction. We've got some planning. Yahtzee's out, cutting down some wood. So the next thing we want to worry about is once we get food, and even if it's meat, we're going to want to do two things. We're going to want to butcher animals, and then we are going to want to cook food. So those are going to be two really important pieces, because they do not like it when they eat raw foods. So there's this tab, needs, and we're going to look at this tab an awful lot. So this is their mood, and once it gets to a certain threshold, they will break. So extreme break threshold for Yahtzee is at 13%. So if their mood gets down to 13%, they're going to break. Food, so you can see how much food the food is going down, and eventually if it's down for too long, they will in fact die. So you can starve to death. So if you don't get food to your people, they will starve. Rest, so if they're at the end of the night, they will be fully rested, and as they work, that rest goes down. And if they get super tired and you've worked them to death, they will fall asleep wherever they're at, and then they'll get a new negative buff or negative debuff because they slept on the ground and they slept outside, and it all stacks on top of each other. So like right now, 8 without a table, in the darkness, uncomfortable, and ugly environment. And joy is another thing that we'll have to make sure we're keeping track of, because if their joy goes down, that is really going to impact their mood. So we have to keep them joy. So the joy field gives them a 5 plus moodlet increase, and then they can have 10 tons of joy, which makes that 10. Beauty, so that is a reflection of the area, and so it's not all that great inside here. Comfort level, again, so the bed comfort does affect them, and then the amount of space they have. So the size of the room that they're in is somewhat important. It affects, again, their mood. So we're trying to make them happy colonists. Now the last thing we need to do as we're starting to set up is putting people to work and deciding when they do what. So as they're sleeping, we'll do this. Firefighting, I always put on a 1. If anything starts to catch on fire, we want them to work actively to put it out as quickly as possible. The next one is being a patient. Who's our doctor? Who's our doctor going to be? Yahtzee. Yahtzee's the only one I'm going to want to put doctoring on a 2, because I want him to doctor other people before he's doctoring him, laying down and being a patient. So we'll set his doctoring is going to be to 1. And how the priorities work, I should explain a little bit, is this will be first priority, second priority. It goes from left to right. So if I had everything set at 3s, let's do that. So if I have everything set at 3s, then Yahtzee's going to prioritize firefighting first, patienting second, doctoring third, then bed rest, then he would do plant cutting, then he would do smithing. So it would set the priorities is from left to right unless you do otherwise. And so that's why we're using this numbering system. Whoops, it's supposed to be a 2 there. Doctoring 1 for him. I'm going to do it as I'm not even going to give it to Omelette. And Joyce Elena has a high enough skill that will put that on a 2. Bed rest is actually being in bed, like going in, if they're injured, staying in bed, and that can be a real tough one. So sometimes you'll have to tell them rest until healed, and we do want them to do that. Again, I'm going to put Yahtzee on a 2 so that he is always doctoring first, then he'll be a patient. And that's kind of his primary job. So I'm going to have everything else he does between 3 and 4 because I want to make sure that this always happens. Or at least a 2. So nothing else will be a 1 on him. Flick. It's interesting because I've been watching other people play and I've been playing this for a while. You can see a lot of players will put flick at a 1, and what flicking is referring to is turning the power on or off on certain items. So whether it's the cooler or a heater or turrets, like you don't want turrets on all the time because they're going to suck up your energy, and so you want to turn them off, or you have them off and someone's attacking, so you want to turn them on. Setting people to flick so that all you have to do is click on it, say turn this on, and then somebody will come and do that right away. The problem with that is that oftentimes you've got somebody who's out here who's just finished hunting something. You click, okay, flick something on, and it's going to automatically assign it to that person because they've finished whatever it is that they were after. And the next thing you know, they're trying to track all the way over here to turn your turrets on. Whereas I could have just selected somebody else and say prioritize that. So I'm going to set this to a 4. It allows me to ask somebody to flick something, but I can prioritize it, which means they drop what they're currently doing and they'll go and do that thing. So I'm going to set this, to a 4. Wardening is when we capture people. So we will, if we get a bandit attack, we can capture somebody and eventually try to recruit them into our colony. So it's one way to grow the colony. And wow, I did not pay attention. This is the one thing none of them are good at. So I guess Omelet, you are our warden. So hopefully you get better at the talking. Clearly Joycelina is not the talker because if you've ever heard me, I stumble over my words all the time. So yeah, and Joycelina is not going to be the person to say, come join our colony. Besides, wasn't she has the creepy voice. Yeah, no one's going to want to join. Handling is working with animals. So 7, 11, and 1. So we're going to keep Joycelina at a 3. We're going to put a 2 for Omelet because that's going to be his primary thing to work on is handling. So wherever didn't I ask to tame? Well, I'm sorry about that. It was very odd. I had been recording and I was doing my thing, and then suddenly I looked up and I hadn't been recording. So I'd been going on and talking for like the past 10 minutes, and you weren't along for the ride. So now I got to go figure out where I was at. I know I was talking about my manual priorities, and I think we were looking at construction. So it seems that I've got Joycelina on a 2, so she'll do construction before she does other things. Yahtzee is not constructing anything. He has 0 skills. It's like he's never heard of a hammer, so he has no idea how to do that. So that's where we're at with that. Is nothing there. Omelet's got it on he's got better skill right now, but Joycelina has a passion for it. So Joycelina is going to be the constructor there. Growing, though, this must be where we left off. So Omelet's growing is a 13, which means it's really high. So we're going to set his growing and his plant cutting at the same. So plant cutting is affected by this number, the skills number. So that the higher the skill, the faster they plant cut. So if I select a bunch of trees for them to cut, they'll be able to do that faster dependent on what their grow value, what their grow skill is at. And when they're harvesting, they're less likely to fail the higher that grow number is. So if you, like Yahtzee here has a grow of 3, the grow skill of 3. So we're not going to want him to do plant cutting unless he absolutely positively has to. The same with the planting. So the planting it's less affected except for how fast they're able to sow. And so we're going to have Joycelina and Yahtzee. That's not going to be one of their primary skills. We're going to want Omelet to do most of the sowing and plant cutting when necessary. And we're going to keep him on a 3 for mining. So I want Yahtzee to go through and warden and handle. and then grow and plant cut before he does anything else. And then maybe he can cook, because he's got a pretty good skill for cooking. Won't poison us right away, I don't think. Yahtzee's going to do most of the cooking, though. That's going to be his primary skill. He doesn't have a passion, and I think I mentioned that in the last episode when we were setting things up. My one concern was that nobody had a passion for cooking or had even an interest. So interest is when they have one little flame, and passion about it is when they have two. So no interest whatsoever in cooking, and that's disconcerting. So when we finally do recruit somebody, I'm hoping they have that cooking skill. Then the plant cutting we already dealt with. So the smith and tailor and art, I'm not going to worry about them right now. Let's just turn them off. Eventually, that will be Yahtzee's secondary job after cooking, because hopefully his skill will bump up until we get a new cook. And then the smithing and tailoring will be the primary job. I do want him to do that, and we're going to actually do it as a 2, so that he does it before growing and planting, because he does have an interest in smithing, tailoring, and crafting even at this low level. In fact, we can even make a crafting spot. Is that under production? Crafting spot. So, yeah, we can make an area so he can, actually, let's put it over here. So we can have some different builds here. We can make a tribal headdress. Why, yeah, that sounds interesting. We'll do one of those, and tribal wear. So as our clothes start to fall off, we'll need to replace them. We'll want to be able to do things like that. And then maybe a short bow. And let's do a club, just in case. And those are things that even if we make bad ones and we're not interested, we can sell them later. So we've done that. Okay, back to our work. So Yahtzee's going to do that before he does anything else. And then I want him to do cleaning, and then hauling can be down there. And what's his research skill? 4. Joycelyn is at 7. So she's going to be our researcher. And then she'll grow, plant cut, haul, and clean. I'm actually going to put a clean as a 2 prior to research. That way somebody's coming through. Actually, no. We'll do hauling. So because Yahtzee's going to do cleaning as a 2 before he does hauling. So we'll have her do hauling before she goes back and researches. And I haven't made a research bench, so that's not really something we're doing right now. But that's all set up. Now the next piece is restricting when they sleep, when they work, when they do joy. And joy, really, you got to be focused on, are they getting their happy time? I mean, it's just like you probably have that if you're in school or if you're going to work. You work all day, you go to school all day. Your brain is already full of the stuff that you have to do, and you need to just relax and chill, which is why, you're probably listening to this right now as part of your relax and chill, and hopefully it's bringing you joy. So it's really an important feature. One of the things to note is that Omelette here is a night owl. Omelette is also a nudist, so I bet you he's not happy about constraining clothes. I'm a nudist, but I have to wear these clothes. It's not unbearable, but I still feel constrained and uncomfortable. Yeah, so he doesn't want clothes on, and he's a night owl, so he doesn't want to be awake in the morning and asleep at night. So in fact, it's pretty specific here. So he gets a mood bonus if awake at night, which is the 23rd hour through the 6th hour, and then a mood loss if he's awake during the day, which is hour 11 through 18. So it's really important for us, more than anything, is that through hour 11 through 18 is the sleep time. Now, I usually don't like giving 8 hours of sleep. I typically like 6 hours of sleep. But for him, he's going to be mad even if he gets up at the 17th hour because he's fully rested. If he's awake during that time frame, he's not going to be a happy camper. So we'll do, wait a second. Is that how you do this? No. That goes back to anything. So typically in the morning, first thing, we want to give him a couple hours of joy. And that is so that when they wake up, they have time to go eat and then do something joyful to build that joy up for the day. And then it will last them and really help if other things happen during the day. that their mood level's not gonna go down. In fact, if they get tons of joy, it gives them a 10-point boost. And then just having any type of joy, it gives them a 5-point boost. So you wanna make sure they have that opportunity to have that joy. And the next thing is to make sure that they have kind of an extra hour of any time. So that's 3 hours in the morning. So they get up, they eat, they play horseshoes, they do whatever they need to do, and they'll have plenty of time to do that before they start working. And then we can put in a nice long work day. And then in the end, they can do anything. So if they're tired early, they can go to bed. If they're not, they can maybe have some additional joy time. They can do their eating. So they eat before they go to bed so they don't have a hunger mood debuff the whole time. So that's kind of how I'm going to set them up. And then he needs work during this time. Get to work, Omelet, get to work. So the nice thing about having somebody who's a night owl is that it will offset so that there's always somebody doing work. The bad thing about that is, let's say I have a room for Yahtzee, and Omelet, and Yahtzee's asleep, and Omelet comes in and he needs to build something, or he needs to set up a torch. It's going to wake Yahtzee up, and that's going to make him mad. So you do kind of have to manage that a little bit and be careful what tasks you put in, and making sure that that doesn't get prioritized while someone's sleeping in there. And I'm trying to think. After that, oh, and this is the last one. Okay, so to make Omelet happy, we will set him to nudist. Fine. So where are we at? We've set up a single room. Oh, I know what we haven't done. We haven't put the bills on here. So once we built the butcher table, we want it to butcher creature. Now we have several options. We can tell it how many times to butcher a creature, or we can just say do until you have a certain amount, or do forever. So for this, we're going to do forever. If there's dead animals in our stockpile, butcher them and turn them into meat. Now for the fueled stove, we're going to want to cook simple meals. You need higher skills to build the fine meals and lavish meals, and it requires more food. So you don't want to start doing that until you've built up enough grow zones and you have enough skills and your place is big enough to be able to manage that. And what we're gonna do until we have, and this one it automatically sets it to 10. If you click on details, we have the option to make that larger or smaller. And I typically do about 3 meals per person that's being fed in the colony. And in this case, we can limit allowed skills. So let's say we had somebody who was a level 3, and then we wanted it something higher. So only like our level 9 person made the lavish meals. You would be able to set which skill. So we could have simple meals that anyone can make it, but then the fine meals set it up so that only someone cooking level 6 or higher, or cooking level 14 or higher, whatever it is, so that we can really clarify who's going to actually build those particular meals. Now in this case, we don't have anyone available that can cook them. The other thing we can do is, so we've told them, okay, make 9 of them, and pause when you've satisfied 9. Just stop trying to make stuff. But unpause once it hits another number. So we can have that down to 2, or we can have it up to, let's say 4, or actually let's say 3. So once there's 3 in the stockpile, if there's only 3, they'll go, oh, I need to start cooking again. But if there's 5, they're not going to. They'll go back to this priority list and they'll skip cooking because it's not necessary. And then you make sure that they get to the other items on their list of things to do. So speaking of food, let's get some orders out there for them to harvest. It looks like I'm hunting a couple of things. Now you don't want to set up too many things in the queue. Otherwise, nothing will get done. Let's chop some wood. I think we already did some wood chopping. But let's do some chopping over here. And finally, let's start building another structure. Now this is going to be a bedroom. And I don't want it right off of here because I'll probably expand this. This will probably end up being my cooking area. We'll build in some tables, and that will kind of be a commons area. And then we'll have a butchering place, and then probably a place to bring all the food. Maybe the food will be down here, and it'll be refrigerated once we have power and a power source. So let's come over here and we'll start building a room. And I'm making these larger because there is actually a need for them to be a certain size. If they're too small, your people get a debuff from being in a small, tight space. And the larger their rooms, the higher their overall happiness in those rooms. So let's unpause. I've been doing all this chatting and these guys aren't doing anything. And let's speed things up. Oh, let's put in a floor. Oh, I hear the gun. Joycelyn is out hunting. But is she actually hitting anything? Probably not. Hopefully it will build her skills. Omelet is over here. See, so I had him do some cutting. So he's out there getting that. Let's make sure we have a stock zone. We're going to want a stockpile zone inside so that the food doesn't deteriorate. So you'll notice there's hit points on items, and if they're out and they're uncovered, they'll start deteriorating. Now the rocks don't do that, but like my components, the clothes, the medicine, because it's out and in the open, it's going to deteriorate. So I better put up a wall and try to cover this. So we'll put up a wall, and we'll put up you can put up some what is it? Build a roof area. So we'll want to build a roof area over this where we have our stockpile. And this stockpile, let's do this for, we'll clear all, put in meals and raw food and under manufacturing, I think it is, and medicine. So let's get those things inside here. As Joycelyn continues to try to shoot the tortoise. Now the tortoise can't get mad. Oh, now here's an alpaca. Let's tame. Oh, see, omelets down here? Cloud watching. Oh, because we need a joy source, don't we? Horseshoes. Let's put that right there. Now Yahtzee's coming down to haul. I think he's coming to cook. So, we haven't hauled these in, but he's going out for each one. For each time he cooks a meal, now he's going to go out. So Yahtzee, just haul the berries. Haul the berries. Haul the berries. And then worry about cooking them. There you go. Now put them in the pile, and he'll still go up there. Oh, you know what I need to do? Hold on. Well, keep going. I need to not let meals be here, not let raw food be there, and not let medicine be there. See, now, then that'll get done and put in here. New lovers. What? Yahtzee and Joycelyn have come together and are now lovers. I don't even know. I don't even know. Okay. Interesting. Awkward. And visitor, a cave tender from Orange Hill Compact is visiting the colony. So, you know, I didn't expect this series to be rated teen, but clearly I've got a naked omelet, and Joycelyn and Yahtzee are now an item. This is not what I expected. Okay, well there you go. Low medicine. Oh, did I do that yet? Well, you guys keep working. Yes, I did. Want to make sure that they don't have their medicine too high. But you know, I think with that, we're gonna wrap these. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Woodpecker. Woodpecker is interested in trading. Who's my warden? Omelet. Omelet. And you're wide awake. Good. Come trade with the woodpecker. So there's a trading system. So the Steel Club It's in nice condition. It probably is not as good as the item that Omelet is carrying. His plasteel knife, normal, is probably much, much better. So we're going to go ahead and sell that. We're going to save the clothes for the next person that comes along. Or for when it gets cold and whether Omelet likes it or not, we're going to tell him to put on clothes. Kind of like with my kids. It's like, it's 32 degrees. I don't think I'm asking too much by put on a coat. So, yeah. Fortunately, my kids wear their like normal clothes though, because that would be really bad. So, Omelet there, going around buck naked, cutting down a tree and building. And before we wrap up, let's see if we can we'll make this Yahtzee and Joycelina's nice little place and make them a nice wooden double bed with end tables on each side. How's that? And while we're at it, let's build a table and some dining chairs and a shelf and a torch lamp to light it up. Oh, Omelet thinks that you should give your faction a name. What should your faction be called? Well, Just Vanilla. What else is it going to be called? Just Vanilla. Since it looks like you'll be here a while, Omelet also thinks that you should give this community a name. What should this local community be called? Let me see. Minecraftians. Since that's where we all know each other from. How's that? Okie dokie. Let's see. Now again, I think, let's see, a shoddy bed. What's the information on this? Comfort is 0.53. And the rest effectiveness is 90%. So it's getting better. We'll get some pretty good rests on there. What's the ones over here? Shoddy, poor. Yeah, this has a rest effectiveness of 95%. That's not bad. Awful. This has a rest effectiveness of 85% and a comfort of 0.3. So this will be nice. And so now we can actually set the owner to this. So Yahtzee and Joycelina. There we go. How are we doing on this? A normal table. That's good. So it gives beauty is 1. And then a nice sell price. Does it say the sell price? Market value, $63. Not bad. So this is always interesting. This can display a room. So Joycelina and Yahtzee's bedroom. Impressiveness is 28. Oh, now it's 34. It's mediocre. The wealth is mediocre. It's somewhat spacious. The beauty is neutral, and the cleanliness is that it's clean. So those are all the positives we want to be aware of. And for some people, the mood of what their room looks like really affects them. So under needs, they'll awful barrack. That was where the 3 of them were staying. But now, opinion of my lover, feeling great, and mad animal. Hold on. A local squirrel has gone mad and will attack everyone it sees. Okay, where are you at? Oh, I should have jumped to it. I have a feeling it's you. Melee attacking Joycelina. Hey, you. Like that's gonna happen. I'm gonna attack you first. Yahtzee, get over here. Shouldn't you be protecting me with your gun? Omelet's sleeping. I am not gonna bug him just for a squirrel. There we go. Now is it dead? It's dead. Perfect. So we can go back to what you're doing. Go back to what you were doing. Fix things up. And with that, I'm going to sign off for this time. If you are interested in having your name within the community, definitely leave a comment. Tell me what name you want. And oh, look, they're going to be so happy that they ate at a table. Look at this, under needs. Extremely low expectations, new colony, optimism, opinion of my lover, spacious interior, joy-filled, feeling good. Oh, ate without a table. That's not true. Oh, I guess it should go away. in 0.78 hours. That was from the last time they ate. And their alpha barrack should go away in 12 hours. And uncomfortable. I don't know why he's uncomfortable. Okay, and with that, we're gonna sign off and say goodbye to the crew. Thanks for watching and see ya next time.